Welcome to Win with Barlow, the podcast where we turn your entrepreneurial dreams into reality. With your host, Akira Barlow. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of DNA testing businesses. Looking to maintain momentum or ready to scale? This series is your guide to success. Let's get started. Hey, family. How are you today? Welcome back to another audio learning lesson. It is your favorite DNA testing cousin, Akira Barlow, baby. And we are back with another chit chat. So how you been? Well, I've been doing good. Thank you for asking. Busy, but good. Can't complain. So in today's lesson, we are talking about setting your DNA testing prices. That is what we are kind of getting into today. Before I jump into all of that, be sure you like this video. Go ahead, like the video, okay? Like the video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel because you know it's good content, quality content. And be sure you are following me on Instagram. I did make a Facebook page, so I did put the link in the description box for you too. If you're catching this on YouTube, go ahead and like my Facebook page too so I can get active over there. Some people were telling me, like, girl, I don't have Instagram, I only got Facebook. And I used to be a Facebook hater, but I'm back. Okay. I am back. So, in today's audio lesson, we are talking about setting your prices for your DNA testing business. So, all of this is based on your lab partnership. That's number one. So, based on your lab partnership's price, like whatever the lab is charging you, whether the lab is charging you $50, $70, $120, like whatever the lab is charging you, you are not charging the public that. Okay. Please hear me when I say that. If you are charging the public the same amount that the lab is charging you, then you're not seeing any profit whatsoever. Okay. Now, before you actually set your prices, there are a couple things that I want you to kind of review. All right. The first thing that I want you to take a look at is your area. So, where do you live? What are the prices in your area? And if there's nobody around you, there's nobody, you know what I'm saying, doing what you're doing. The average DNA testing price starts at about 350, I would say at least 350 to about 450 for just standard paternity. That is an average price. There are some markets that can literally go higher than that. Your Houston markets, your Atlanta markets. I've seen even in the Chicago area where tests start at about $500. So it is, you know, a reasonable arena. So 300 to 500 is your standard pricing. The lab is going to charge you anywhere from 70 to I think $150 is what I'm seeing with some of these lab partners, whether you're partnered with Choice, whether you're partnered with DDC, whoever you're partnered with. Okay. Um, Based on that fee is kind of how you're setting your price. So if you are, let's just say in the Houston, Texas area and your test start at 450, right? I think that's a good price margin. And maybe the lab is charging you maybe $100 to process. So your profit, of course, would be roughly about $350. So I would say base your pricing on what your market can particularly afford. Actually get on Google, do some research and see what other people are actually charging and kind of base your prices in the middle. You don't want to just be the cheapest person just because that doesn't mean it's going to bring you the best clients or the most consistent clients. Even when prices are relatively extremely low compared to what other people charge, people are like giving you the side eye. So don't think that you gotta just be the cheapest to get clientele. You want to be reasonable and you want to do what makes sense. You also want to be sure that you're setting those additional fees. So I know in some of my other podcast episodes, I've told you guys about, mileage fees and same day appointment fees. All of those things are great, right? However, they don't always work in every single market because for some people, it could be a turnoff. So my advice to you is to consider pricing that is reasonable. Consider pricing that people in the area can actually afford and enough to where you're seeing a decent amount of profit. To me, every DNA collector should at least make 200 to 250 in profit per test. Like that should kind of be your arena. in the profit margin area. So when you're setting that as your profit margin, it's relatively easy to kind of, set your prices. You don't want to be too high, you don't want to be too cheap, but you also don't want to you don't want to copy exactly what everybody else is doing. So let me just address it. So when I decided to come up with the prices for my DNA testing company, I immediately started thinking out of the box. I knew that, everybody was charging because the prices that they were charging because they were a brick and mortar location. My business is actually the only mobile DNA testing service in Southern Mississippi. Shout out to me, okay? Shout out to you, girl, okay? So I knew that the mobile side could sell them easily, right? But I also knew that I gotta be able to give them an extra bang for their buck. So what I started to do was charge an entire flat fee that allowed them to get results in 24 hours. So whatever my lab was charging me for 24-hour results, I was just automatically including that fee inside of my test. So people knew my company as the company that they can not only come to get a payment plan, because we do offer payment plans on all of our tests, which is one of my major like secrets. So pick that up, okay? I just dropped it for you. Pick it up, pick that gem up. We offer payment plans. So most of our clients are only coming out of pocket like $50 to actually get a DNA test with us, even though we get our entire, profit up front. We get the entire amount up front. So my advice to you is to kind of come up with something that's unique for your business. So because I added that, 24-hour, result fee in there, I did not charge people mileage, or I didn't charge them same day appointment fees, because people in my area, in this rural Mississippi area, they couldn't afford all those extra fees. So I had to do what makes sense. But in different other markets like Houston and Atlanta, Chicago, my Dallas, Texas areas, in those areas where I have other collectors, I can charge those crazy extra fees because people can afford it. They would pay for it. So it's important to set your prices based on what your area can relatively afford. So go do a quick Google search, see what the other testing companies are doing, see how they are charging, look at their policies and their processes, and kind of model yours similar, but be different. Okay. I do not believe in businesses just relatively copying somebody else. You want to stand out, especially in this old DNA testing thing, because there's not, a whole lot of private DNA testing agencies out there. So you don't want to just be identical to what someone else is doing. If anything, create pricing that is competitive, that causes a shift in the market in your area so that you can see clients, so that you can make some money in this thing. So the best thing for you to do is kind of do some area research, and also talk to your lab partners and negotiate if you can. Not only that, but compare. Don't just settle with one lab because they have a name for themselves or because you see other people partnering with them. You want to compare the pricing between the labs. So check Choices DNA pricing, check Alliance, and kind of compare, between all of these different labs, what their total cost would be to process a collection. And you want to get the entire amount, not just what they're saying on your contract forms. You want to know everything. If there's shipping involved, if once exactly the collection gets there, exactly how much is it? Are they charging you tax? You need to learn all of that. So it's important to get on the phone with your lab partners and get down to the nitty gritty, okay? So that you can know exactly how much every collection is going to take. I know when I first started with DDC, I think their lab sheet said something like $140 at the time, or I can't remember. It's been a few years, but I think it was like, yeah, like $140 or something like that for the entire lab fee. But then when I got to processing with them, every collection was coming out to be like $152 or $153. I can't remember, but something like that. So it's like, where does extra money came from? Like, where does this other $13? Like, I know, because I didn't account for that as a business owner. So I had to call them, kind of figure out why it was like that. And then I had to adjust my profit margin based on that additional little $13, $14 that they were actually charging versus what I saw on the actual lab fee schedule that they gave me when I signed up. So it's important for you to know the exact amount the lab's going to charge you every single time. And also calculate, your shipping methods as far as the results. So for my clients, we send them certified mail as well. So that costs us, about $13, I think $14 to send that to them. And also, there's an additional fee that we have to pay if we want to overnight with FedEx. So I base all of that stuff in my feed so I can know exactly how much money I'm making. So when you're setting your pricing, do some area research, kind of shop around and see what other businesses are kind of like, offering for that price point. Check with your lab to make sure that your pricing makes sense as far as your profit margins. And other than that, I think you should be good. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you have learned something from this episode about your pricing. Let me know in the comments if you got questions. Of course, if you're interested in taking my self-paced DNA e-course, go ahead and check out the description box. I do have a discount code for you there. Remember, you don't have to be certified to start a DNA testing agency. You don't have to have a certificate or anything to partner with a DNA testing lab. So don't let all those nitty bitty those little bitty details stop you from actually getting started. So I'll see you in the next episode.